There we go.
First Mackinaw of the morning.
Pulled out his teeth.
Oh.
Downtown music on the beat.
Oh yeah.
Hey, what's up guys? Nick the Informative Fisherman here, and today we're out here on Lake Tahoe with two awesome fishing guides, Rick Kennedy from FishTightLines.com and Mickey Daniels from Big Mac Fishing Charters. That's BigMacCharters.com or Mickey's Big Mac?
Mickey'sBigMac.com.
Mickey'sBigMac.com. These are two awesome guys to get out on Lake Tahoe with. Today we're on Rick's boat to start off, and we're targeting Macs and Browns. We're trying to go for the mixture, and tomorrow we're going to be on Mickey's boat, targeting probably the same thing, but fishing a little bit deeper and a little bit differently. So along the way here, we're going to break down all the techniques for you and land some big fish on film, guys. Stay with us.
So we launched out of the Cave Rock launch ramp that morning on the Nevada side near South Lake Tahoe there. You know, we started off with about 11-degree temperature outside with 10 to 15 mile an hour wind, so it was starting off colder than something I probably ever felt before or ever fished in for that matter. The goal was to target some browns and some macs up in that shallow water. We knew the winds were going to pick up a little later in the afternoon, so we tried to start shortly after we hit the water. We made a quick run over to a point that Rick knew some fish were on. You know, it didn't take very long at all, and I set a line out on my planer board, and it ended up tangling Rick right in the very beginning. Where it's a whoops.
That's all right. I had to make sure it was still on there. How's your hands, Nick? Cold. Very cold. You thought it was tough and dealt.
So I just set out a planer board into Rick's lure. I just wanted to make sure I could pick up Rick's line that was set back there to make sure I can snag anything that's in the way if we have to. So yeah, so I got that all figured out. Just got Rick putting on the leader for me. My hands are freezing over here, but Rick can seem to deal with this freezing cold stuff. It's snowing on us right now. We'll get some fish in the boat. It's a matter of time, right Rick?
Well, if we can keep these tangles straight, we will.
We got 3 rods out. I mean, that's all we need in this boat.
You only need one, really. Man. How'd you do that?
Custom.
Learn that in college?
If I let you know, you'd be doing it all the time.
Did you learn that in college?
Mickey showed me.
Okay, so this morning we started out trolling. We're top lining, basically running several different sized Rapalas right now. Anywhere from, we've been varying our speed from 2.5 up to about 3.5. We've got, I think, 3 lines on the top, and then I've got 2 on the downriggers, one down at 5 feet and one down at 10 feet, just to kind of stay in that top section of the water column. We're going to make a few runs through here with the Rapalas and see what happens, and if we don't pick nothing up, we're going to drop a little deeper out into some deeper water and see what's happening out there.
That's an old girlfriend said if you want some strange stuff, just go a little deeper.
Oh.
Let me clear that. Yeah, there we go.
Here we go. First hookup of the morning.
Hey Mickey, that's 3-pound test, so be careful.
3-pound test?
Yeah.
There's only one way to go on Rick's
Well, who
boat.
tied the knot? You're talking.
This guy's been tying knots all morning.
Oh,
Yeah, you know,
3-pound test knot.
around the tree, bunny ear, back through the loop.
Yeah. How's it feeling, Mickey?
Not bad, not bad.
I'm gonna go ahead and clear this up.
He's coming around to the right.
A little bit of ice on here. I think it's a little Mackinaw.
There's a little red one on the other side there, Nick.
Whoop, 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 whoop. Come on, come on. There we go. Got a ways to go yet.
There we go. Mackinaw to start off the morning.
Here we go. First Mackinaw of the morning. So they're often referred to as lake trout, but that's a Mackinaw right there. Got nice sharp teeth in them. Pretty aggressive fighters. You can see this guy was just bulldogging Mickey around there. They get a lot bigger than this too, but this is a pretty average size for this lake here, Mickey?
Yeah, about average.
Pretty average? Yeah. Great.
Nice colored fish though.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna tag them and release this guy to get them back out there since they're not stocking Mackinaw anymore. Is that correct?
Right.
That's right. So we're gonna do our part as anglers to give back to this fishery and revive this guy and get him back out there and be caught at a later day.
24 and a half. 24.5. Oh, okay. Not bad.
Probably around 6.
Oh yeah, it's a pretty nice fish. I take him right in the dorsal fin.
Yeah.
There you go.
Since he's up top, he's probably doing all right anyhow.
Oh, he's fine here.
Yeah. There it is.
Just going down a little bit now, but not much. Hold still, buddy.
All right.
Okay, so now out on Rick's boat, we're doing the top lining. We hit that first fish on this Rapala F13 right here. This is all style of rip baits. There's a whole lot of rip baits on the market that you can use for that. Now when we're pulling these guys, we're starting off at about 2.5 miles an hour. We work up to about 3 miles an hour pulling those. Now the setbacks on these are extremely far. We're out here fishing Tahoe and the water's extremely clear. But you're going to see that we're using braid, and we're using 30-pound P-line Spectrix braid. And the thing with that 30-pound braid is it's only 8-pound diameter, so we're getting a lot more yardage. And we're using 50 feet of P-line fluorocarbon leader right there. And the reason why we're using that 50 feet is because it is so visible out there, and we need that bite detection. When you see these baits jerking around out there, you can look at your rod tip and you'll see this. And the braid has virtually no stretch, and fluorocarbon, you know, it's got much lower stretch than most of your other types of lines. So you're still going to see that right there, to where if your bait gets hung up, you'll notice right away on your rod tip. You get a lot more yardage. When you're hooking these bigger Mackinaw, they bulldog you, or a bigger brown, they'll bulldog you and go running out there. So having that extra yardage is imperative.
So I just stepped out to the back of the boat with Rick to do a little re-rigging. We're going to try to work deep and a little bit slower with some flatfish. And well, my voice sounds funny as my lips are frozen from being out there for a short amount of time. And it's nice to be able to step back into the warm little cabin here and just get nice and toasty and recover so we can get out there and put our hands on a fish as soon as one takes it. I'm telling you, no better way to go than a nice little heated cabin. I'm telling you, that's the way to do it. Gonna rig up that coconut behind a sling blade, Mickey?
Oh, this is a sling blade with a coconut behind it. And just drop it right down there. I think what happens is when a sling blade's going through the water, a fish can probably hear the sling blade going like you and I can hear somebody running, you know, and then they come upon the coconut and pop it. Hopefully.
Waves get any better, rock cod bite's gonna turn on for us. We can just put some jigs on and let it bounce us around the whole thing.
And another thing we were doing, before it got too rough and we had to get out of there, we didn't hit any fish on it, but it's a highly effective method, pulling that flatfish style lure right there. Now these guys down to about 75 feet are okay, but Mackinaw are often 300-400 feet of water. And you can get these guys down there on your downrigger, but what you have to do is drill a little tiny hole in the front and a little tiny hole in the back because it's a hollow body. The pressure will crush these things just like a soda can being smashed down. So if you're going to go beyond 75 feet, drill a little hole in the front and back to release the pressure. The thing's still very hydrodynamic. It'll plane the water over it. It won't really fill full of water, but it'll release the pressure when it needs to. So now when you're using baits that kick around and displace a lot of water, a lot of the time you can't run multiple lines with that flatfish style of bait right there. It's real dangerous. When they hook up with one another, they twist up, they thrash your line. So a lot of the time you got to run two and try to keep them at a good spread apart from one another if you're doing that. But Shasta Tackle has a large wiggle hoochie. A lot of people have seen the small one, but they haven't seen the large ones quite yet. They kick around and displace water good, so that fish's lateral line and that aggression, they can feel the stress coming off that vibration. with these larger wiggle hoochies. And it's a nice soft pliable bait. You can put scent up in there. And they're not displacing as much water as that bigger flatfish style bait, so you could run more of these guys, bottom bounce with these, put them on the downrigger. These will also get hammered quite well. So when you're out pulling rip baits, and let's say you're top lining like we were earlier on Rick's boat, you got these guys out there. Well, how do you run so many next to one another without having a hang up? This is where you're often going to see us pulling these Yellowbird planer boards like this, right out to the side, perpendicular to the boat, getting them out there. You can use multiple ones and run tons of rip baits back behind your boat and spread them out and cover a variety of the water column, come through them, cover a massive wave of that area, instead of having 2 lines behind your boat. Oftentimes you have dual rod stamps and 3 anglers in your boat, 4 anglers, and you're out there running 2 lines. What's the point? We can get all those other lines out there, find the fish faster, throw multiple presentations in front of their face, and really hone in on it. Planer boards, imperative for covering a lot of water. If you're not fishing planer boards, fish them. If you want to know how and check it out, look at the link right here at the bottom of the screen and check this video out I did. It'll really break it all down for you.
After a few hours, the winds got a little bit too rough, a little bit too dangerous. The wind chill, the freeze. We're getting white caps out there, so it was really time to call it a day. Stay with us, guys, and when we come back, we'll be hopping on with Mickey to do a little bit of long lining. You know, a big special thanks to the people at the Ferrari's Crown Resort in Lake Tahoe there. If you guys are in the area, you know, this is where they put us up for the evening. What a fantastic location, right there on the beach. You can walk right across the street and go get a bite in many of the little restaurants right there. Great staff. I couldn't ask for much more. I appreciate you guys putting me up. If you're in Lake Tahoe, guys, make sure to check out this place first. What a fantastic location. Hey, what's up, guys? Nick the Informative Fisherman here, and when it comes to spooling up my reels, I choose nothing less than the best, and that's why I use P-Line each and every time. Are you fishing the best?
P-Line, baby. P-Line.
Did you ever wish for an RC boat when you were a kid? And do you have a passion for fishing? Well, guess what? It's time to do them both at the same time. With RCFishingWorld.com's RC Fishing Pole, it's time to be a kid again. So visit www.rcfishingworld.com today. Ever tried pulling a planer board next to your boat when trolling or fishing from a swift current bank? If not, you're missing out on one of the most phenomenal fish catching machines on the market today. With Yellowbird planer boards pulling your lines perpendicular to your boat, you can't help but catch more fish. Find out more by visiting www.yellowbirdproducts.com. Have you been to rustylures.com? Did you know they offer free shipping on anything over $29.99? And with all the latest and greatest in bass fishing gear, from punching tackle, umbrella rigs, swim baits, and you name it, there's really no reason for you not to be getting the best deal online today. So go to www.rustylures.com. Have you had the chance to fish the baddest hoochie on the market today? That's right, I'm talking about the Shasta Tackle Wiggle Hoochie, one of the most dynamic reaction trout and salmon lures that runs second to no other for pulling and triggering fish into striking. So I guess the real question is, are you catching all the fish you should be catching? Thanks for watching, guys. Now let's do some long lining with Mickey.
All right, so now we're on Mickey's boat. It's Tuesday morning now. We kind of got blown off the water. Rick was sticking it out, Mickey was sticking it out. Q and I, not really good with the whole motion sickness thing. I was verging on popping, Q popped, but sometimes you got to stick it out. It was just not tolerable at that point. I'm not half polar bear like Rick Kennedy, but hey, you know, I stuck it out as far as I could. We still got one nice fish. So now we're out here on Mickey's boat. We got a severe wind advisory this morning. Mickey said, let's go try to tough it out for a bit, and he's gonna fight the wind all day, and hopefully we'll get some more fish on film here for you guys.
All right, so now we're out back here on the back of Mickey's boat. We're gonna pull out some kites here in a second, start kite fishing out here. We're probably looking at 20-mile-an-hour wind right now, and it's supposed to back down a little later in the afternoon, but we're gonna get some lines out, get some fish, and hopefully get Mickey's clients out here reeling up some big fish before we decide to have some fun. But any assistance Rick and I can give Mickey this morning, all he has to do is ask. If he needs a shoulder rub or anything, I'm sure Rick will help him.
So the winds decided to play hardball with us this morning, but apparently they haven't met the Mickey Mac attack.
Mickey, are we hitting the bottom here? Yeah. Oh, wait. Get the front end. You got the crappy end.
So we got one big smack on a minnow and didn't hook up. It's in the mid-20s right now. The wind's blowing pretty hard. We have 35-mile-an-hour gusts, but Mickey's focused on getting us on some fish. We're graphing a lot of fish, so we're gonna stick it out. We're gonna get them. I got a good feeling about it. We're gonna get them. This is all part of getting out here in the winter and fighting the elements. It's all part of the game.
So now out here on Mickey's boat, we're using those long stainless steel wire lines with 25-pound tests. If you bend the wire, if you put a kink in it, it'll break easy. But the benefit of this, it doesn't pull up any water at all. When it's freezing cold out here like it was in this video, it goes back into your reel. It can freeze it tremendously fast. So Mickey chooses the wire because he lets 600 to 1,000 feet out behind the boat. This is why it takes forever to bring the fish up out there. But way out there, the fish have no clue anything else is around. And when they do hit it, there's zero stretch. So you can see it right in the rod tip, just like when we were using the braid on Rick's boat. Now the thing that we were doing to work a lot of lines effectively at less than 1 mile an hour, we were using Shasta Tackle sling blades. This is the smaller version, but we were running the 8-inch version. Now what happens when we're fishing down beyond 300 foot deep in the middle of the winter, we have no ultraviolet light. They won't see the color whatsoever. But the nice part is this has glow-in-the-dark tape on it, which they can see. And there's going to be about a 24-inch, 16 to 24-inch, but with the minnows that we're pulling behind these on Mickey's boat, we're doing about a 24-inch leader to about a 1-aught or a 2-aught bait keeper hook. And he's threading little red side minnows onto that hook and sliding them up. But you can also use artificials. When you're fishing that deep, you're letting a lot of line out there. If you get short struck, you can't bring it up to check your bait very often. So often the time, using an artificial bait's the way to go. So we're also trying these little P-line 4-inch kicker minnows right here and threading them on the hook the exact same way. And remember, when you're down there with no visibility, the glow tape works. Putting a little glow paint on your bait can sometimes help them focus in, but scent and feel are more important down deep. If you don't have anything that glows, make sure you put some like Potski scent on your bait, rub it on your dodger so they can smell it, so they can feel that and smell it and hone in and lock onto your bait for you.
So we lost a couple of key hookups that morning, including this one. You know, some days it doesn't matter what you do, it's just gonna happen, but it's best to remain focused on those few opportunities that you're gonna get throughout the day and, you know, capitalize on those chances, because remember, it only takes 1 or 2 bites and that can happen in a few minutes.
Through it.
It's my system. I got three things. Got to watch where you're going. Got to keep the lines getting tangled. If I can keep the first 2 from happening, normally I can catch fish. And right now we're in deep water, a little over 300 feet. So I got the long lines. And the only way to, my theory is the best fishing is on the bottom. The only way to get to the bottom is a lot of weight or a lot of line. So I use less weight, more line, heavier weight, less line. I try and get different angles on the line going down. And then we go through there. And if we get a fish on the downrigger, then we watch the other long rods a little bit closer, because they'll come through it in a couple minutes. If we get one on the last rod back there, we've already gone through it the other rod. So it's very scientific.
So how deep we fishing right now for the most part?
300.
300 feet?
Yeah. Right now we're 380 here. We just dropped off a little bit. But we'll, as I make my turn now, the inside line's going to settle down. See.
Now with the wire line, what's that all about, Rick?
Well, there's no stretch in it. And when if you use monofilament, it's a rubber band. Mm-hmm. You won't feel a thing. And you could wreck your reel if you get it on too tight, because it's synthetic. You wrap it around your hand loose and it gets tighter and tighter. You put it on the reel tight, it's going to get tighter. And I've seen them blow up the end plates. Boom.
So when we got hundreds of feet of line out there, if we were using something like mono, we probably wouldn't even detect half these bites.
You wouldn't.
You're just going to see probably your rod start to load up. You wouldn't even see any pumping, right?
Just slow and easy.
Yeah. So with this wire, even with hundreds of feet out there, we're still getting the translation of the lightest little ticks. You can still see it on the rod tip.
What I like about the wire is I can watch the tip of the rod and see if my lure is working properly or not.
Yeah, you can tell if it gets fouled up or hung up, because
if I just
right
pick
now
up
you
the
see
speed, then you'll see it working a little bit more.
Yeah. It's a good way to detect with, you have to have extremely low stretch to where you can see the action of your lure working in your rod tip. And what Mickey's doing right now is he's getting on the throttle a little bit to make sure everything's working good, and then he'll back right off.
Yeah.
It's a real simple way to get on the throttle. If you don't see any action in there, could be hung up, your lure could be twisted around or fouled up, and when you're pulling a dead lure through the water, you're just wasting time even having that line out.
Amen.
Yeah. So we'll show you some more rigs here in a minute.
Yeah.
So you're going to see off the back of Mickey's boat here, some rods pointed way out off in the middle of nowhere. So you can tell they're not clipped into a downrigger to bring them straight down. So how does he get that bait down real deep? Well, he's using a 3-way swivel. This one going back up to the rod. This one going down to probably a 6 or 8 ounce weight, but he uses about a 3-foot leader. And then he runs about, I think it was about 10 or 15 foot long leader out there to that sling blade dodger, and then that minnow back there behind it. What that'll do is, if the boat's moving and you're down 200 feet of water, you may not be reaching the bottom, but when he's letting that tremendous amount of line out there, it is getting down to the bottom and it's hopping along. And like Mickey said, the majority of Mackinaw are generally holding to the bottom, not only just in the summer, but even in the winter. There's still a lot of them down super deep. So top lining can be effective to get those big predatorial ones that are up there looking to eat a trout or looking to eat a kokanee. And a lot of the times the other ones are just hanging out down there, focusing on crawdads and things on the bottom. Bouncing these can be highly effective. So know that you can't just fish one water column or the other. You can fish one that may be somewhat effective and this one's somewhat effective, but if you're fishing both, you're eliminating the odd of, well, it wasn't so good up here today or it wasn't so good down there. You're going to figure out where they are and get in on the fish a little bit faster.
Just like reeling in a guy, take your time. When you get him in, you got to clean him up.
Oh, thanks.
But don't gut him.
I always do that. He knows awful. I always
You got to get it in there because your husband's in there asleep. Pull your head out.
Okay, it's on it. Go ahead, come on. Drop this one too.
So this Mackinaw got twisted up in another line coming up to the tail end of the boat, but coming up from 350 feet, his air bladder was so expanded out, it was going to hold him to the surface either way, so it gave us the opportunity to pick up a few lines, turn around, and go net them back up for Mickey's clients there.
Turn around and pick them up.
Well, we're going to get that net up in the front here and we can... Let me see if I can get that net up here.
Downtown music on the beat.
Oh, rascal. Thank you. Thank Rick.
Yeah, good job, Mickey.
They stop them. Well, you're right. They did go after the long, didn't they? Oh, yeah. They go after the gills. Go hold it up. Little rascal, huh? Pulled out his teeth.
Oh, holy.
Pulled you up.
Now, a lot of you have probably heard about UV and UV color and UV reflected. What that is the sun puts off ultraviolet light, and it's UVA light, the same one that fish see down deep where we can't see any visual light. The ultraviolet rays that are penetrating down there into that water, the fish see a silhouette, but it takes a higher ultraviolet day. In the middle of the winter like this, for example, when we were shooting this Monday and Tuesday, we had a UV of 1, so it didn't really apply. So it's still black down there, so this is where glow in the dark is going to be better. But on a lake like Tahoe, where you could see 50 foot deep, when you have an ultraviolet of about 4 or 5, that ultraviolet rays are penetrating down to 300-400 feet. No matter what anybody tells you, I've done the research. I guarantee you they can see a silhouette of your bait. They're not seeing the color. What they're seeing is a little crystallization in the outline of your bait. So remember, UV reflectant is very good in the middle of the summer when you're fishing down deep and you want them to see it. You can oftentimes use the color white. If you can't find UV reflectant, white is the only color that we know of that actually reflects ultraviolet rays. White is the one that'll do it. That's why when you're on a white bottom boat, you seem like you get a sunburn on the bottom of your arms and the bottom of your neck, and you're wondering what's going on. It's because white is reflecting that ultraviolet rays. So keep that in mind in the middle of the summer. UV reflectant can be fantastic.
Little shrimp, see little shrimp? It stayed loaded after you said you had a bite.
Oh, he's on.
Yeah, I seen it pop back and then load up. So
How are you close my feet up?
take it easy if he jerks. Make you pick up the pace a little long in there.
You know, unfortunately, this fish shook the hook also before reaching the surface, so we really couldn't track him back down, and that was it pretty much on time, so it was time for us to head back in. Even though it was a real challenging trip with winds and freezing temperatures, I still learned a lot from two really great anglers, Rick Kennedy and Mickey Daniels, so thank you guys, I appreciate it, and I look forward to coming back and smacking some big boys next time.
Alright guys, that's it. Not a lot of fish. We had to stick out the elements, fight it most of the time. Rick's trying to hide out of the camera lens here so I can do my thing, but we'll get some more fish on film for you next time, and I'll teach you guys how to break this down. See you next time, guys.
Downtown music on the beat.
Downtown music.
Downtown music on the beat.
Downtown music.